At this point, I don't know what's spreading faster, age verification or AI. Usually age verification uses AI, so it's probably both. Spain to ban under 16s on social media as the world goes all in on age verification. Yet another country is banning social media for people under 16, and the only way they have found to enforce this is AI age verification, where they are going to be collecting our biometric data through our IDs, or they're going to be doing some type of facial scan. Either way, they are going to be collecting our information, selling it, and basically destroying the privacy of everybody that wants to use social media. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced plans on Tuesday to ban anyone younger than 16 from accessing social media platforms. The ban still needs to be approved by the country's parliament, but a bill could be introduced as early as next week. Oh god, this is already gonna upset me. We will protect them from the digital Wild West, they say, as they basically ask them to hand over their information. Yep, that is definitely a good way to protect children, by asking them to hand over an ID or collecting their selfies and video verifications and storing that in a database. Sure, Mr. Sanchez, sure. But he basically said this in a speech at the World's Government Summit in Dubai. As I say in every single age verification related video, do not think that just because your country does not have age verification yet that it never will. At this rate, it will. It is spreading so fast right now to the point where pretty much every single major country in the world either already has age verification or they're considering adding it moving forward. In Greece, a whole completely different country, a senior government official told Reuters on Tuesday that the country is also, quote, very close to announcing its own social media ban for children under 15. And they're also not the only ones. As we already know, Australia's social media ban is already active. They became the first nation in the world to enforce a nationwide ban on social media accounts for teenagers. And that ban is currently being circumvented. I have heard a lot of people in Australia talking about the fact that they are still able to use social media without handing over their ID because, one, they don't want their privacy to be violated, and two, they just don't like the idea of the government asking them to hand over age verification through an ID or a facial scan or whatever, because how many times have these databases gotten hacked? It already happened to Discord when they were mandating age verification, and Australia was so confident in their age verification systems and their ability to be like, you know what, I think everyone will agree with this. They were even launching ads about it, like ads about, oh, these kids are just mindless drones on their phones and stuff. Yeah, definitely don't have parents do their jobs of actually monitoring what their kids do. Instead, require the kids to hand over their IDs, require the kids to do an AI facial scan, which we all know doesn't even work anyways, and that is the way we're going to be able to protect your children, parents. So don't worry about you having to be a parent, just make it so the government has to parent the kids for you. And also, if it's not obvious enough, adults have to verify their ages too on social media, because how are they going to prove that they're over 16? So even if you're not 16, if you're older than 16, then you still have to go ahead and provide age verification. So literally everybody that wants to use social media has to do it. So it's not even just about the kids. It never was about the kids. It was always about collecting information and data and basically just trying to control everybody in your country. But even when they try to use the whole for the kids argument, well, how do you explain the fact that adults have to do it too? Then it's not for the kids, it's for everybody, I guess. It's just about collecting information. But regardless, yeah, they use the same old bullshit arguments. We want to stop cyberbullying. I was about to say these two words, but YouTube actually freaking age restricted one of my other videos for saying them, so I'm not going to. And post promoting this over here, I'm just not going to risk it. That is always the argument that they make, but they don't ever acknowledge the fact that parents need to do their freaking jobs to make sure that the kids aren't looking at bad stuff on their computers and phones, because that's, you know, oh, I don't know what a parent is supposed to do. Why the hell should all the adults be punished and have to hand over age verification just because there are parents in Australia who are so shit at parenting that they can't just watch what their kids do? But anyways, the 10 currently affected platforms for Spain include TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Snapchat, YouTube, Reddit, Kick, and Twitch. They require those platforms to use age verification technology, which once again, as we've confirmed in so many videos, dozens of videos, is crap and it doesn't even work. To ensure account holders are 16 or older, any account tied to someone younger must be deactivated. So what does that do? And this is what YouTube made a point to Australia as well. That's not going to stop the kids from using social media. They have two main choices that they're going to default to. One, they're going to go ahead and use a VPN, which Australia is trying to stop people from doing. But obviously the entire point of a VPN is it protects your privacy. So I'm sure they're going to find some way around it. And two, it'll cause kids to just use those social media websites while logged out. And what is that going to do? That is going to make it so they are actually more likely to see more dangerous and harmful content, because pretty much every social media out there anyways has parental controls. Meaning your kid can have a social media account, but you can have some controls to prevent them from seeing certain things. You can have certain filters on there to make sure that they aren't looking up certain things. You can make it so they don't see content that has swearing or nudity and stuff like that. And that was actually YouTube's point to Australia, where they addressed them in an official letter where they basically said, listen, by Australia forcing YouTube to do this age verification thing, they are actually making YouTube's job harder to protect the kids on the internet, because YouTube themselves say that they actually have all these safety measurements in place to make sure that kids aren't seeing bad content on YouTube. As I've talked talked about before, YouTube has a lot of nudity on it. It's definitely not perfect, but I definitely agree with their point there. For once, I'm actually going to agree with YouTube. YouTube actually does have safety policies in place to make sure that kids aren't going to be seeing bad content on YouTube. It is done through different ways. There are parental controls. There's a restricted mode. Every single YouTube account that you can see has access to something called a restricted mode. As I've talked about before in other videos, if you just go over to the top right of your YouTube tab and click on your icon, if you scroll down to the bottom, it'll say restricted mode off or on. And if you turn it on, then they won't be able to see content that is potentially mature. YouTube does have measures in place to make sure that kids aren't seeing bad things on the platform, but by Australia making it so you can't have an account on YouTube, all that is going to do is make it so kids will use YouTube while logged out. And like I said, that'll make them much more likely to see bad content on the platform. And so this article starts to get into some backlash that Spain has gotten for this, as they should, because it's obviously a violation of internet privacy. Reddit and some teenagers have filed lawsuits claiming the ban infringes on teens' freedom of political communication. Other groups like the ACLU have argued the similar age verification legislation proposed in the US in the recent years would violate the First Amendment. But still, this is not stopping the world from doing this. The French president has basically said that they wanted to go ahead and ban people under 15 from accessing social media. Denmark, they said the same thing. This is a typo over here. It's not people under 5. It's for people who are under 15, with an exception for teens 13 and 14 if they have parental consent. Malaysia also said they want to go ahead and ban kids under 16 from using social media. And remember, all of this is going to be enforced with ID age verification. It's all going to be the same thing. The UK has spread this plague around the world where everybody wants to do age verification now, not because they want to protect the kids, but because they see it as a very easy way to go ahead and collect all the information of everybody. And because they're going to be writing it into law, not only in your country and all these other countries, it'll make it so resisting the law will be a lot harder, because a lot of your countries are going to justify it and say, oh, well, look at how well it's working over in this country. When in reality, it's not about it working well at all. They're just going to be freaking trying to violate our privacy, man. That's all it is, man. And these guys try to mask it and make it seem like something else, but we already know what's going on. It's always a good thing to mention this, but remember, platforms that have mandated age verification have been hacked, the biggest one being Discord, and it resulted in tens of thousands of IDs being leaked. 70,000 was the official number that Discord gave, but I and many others believe there were actually way more IDs that were leaked than that. Discord just doesn't want to say the actual number because it'll make them look bad. So as I say in every single video, call to action, right? What should we do? As I always say, netchoice.org is a great website to go ahead and contact your local lawmakers, specifically for if you live in the United States. There's so many campaigns that you can go over to over here. And if you scroll down over here and go to contact your representative here, you can go ahead and enter in your zip code and go ahead and contact your local representative. It won't work for people outside of the United States, but remember, a quick Google search and I'm sure you can find your local representatives. Email them, talk to them about age verification, talk to them about how it's a bad invasive law, how ID age verification has not been effective, how it has resulted in companies getting hacked and all that information getting leaked. And if we make enough noise, we could probably make some noise and fight back against it. We might as well try instead of just letting our internet privacy get taken away before our very eyes. But yeah, there are states and countries around the world rapidly spreading this age verification crap, and I'm getting really, really tired of it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on the situation in the comments. Spain wants to ban social media as well as many other countries in the world. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.